In March of 2020, people across the country learned a pandemic would change their lives in unimaginable ways. We worried about loved ones, jobs, about groceries and health. With school buildings dark, we worried about children and education too. Amid questions, concerns, and worries, teachers, parents, and students were left to figure out how to carry on. How could learning continue during a pandemic?
And then that was it. We never went back. It was a complete shock to me.
Mostly I had a panic attack. That's pretty much how I handled it.
I kind of had a breakdown.
You didn't know what to expect. It was like 2 weeks, no school. I didn't know what to do.
Parents that work all the time, and I don't know what they did.
It's been school with dad.
It is a juggling act.
I felt like I was basically on call all the time.
I was worried for myself personally, for my mental well-being.
So I just found out that I will not be going back to school ever again.
I did really miss, I really missed seeing my students.
I didn't get to say goodbye to them.
I wish it could be different. I really do.
Today, healthcare is about empowering people to take control of their health. Whether creating a fitness routine, choosing the right procedures and medications, or adhering to treatment for a chronic condition. Capital Blue Cross, dedicated to underwriting transforming health for the good health of the community. WellSpan Health, helping patients reach their health goals through a coordinated system of physicians, hospitals, and convenient healthcare services in communities across central Pennsylvania. Learn more at wellspan.org. WellSpan Health, for the journey that is life. Support also comes from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Transforming Health, Learning During a Pandemic. I'm Kiera McGuire. Over the next half hour, we'll hear from teachers, parents, and students who will recount what the past year has been like, how they've pushed through and come together during these challenging times, and how things are slowly beginning to get back to normal, or at least a new normal again. When school buildings closed in March of 2020, teachers were just as shocked as the rest of the world, and they were tasked with finding a new way to teach practically overnight.
And at the end of that day, the PA came on and it was announced that we would not be returning on Monday. And I was completely shocked. Now, for a time, I think that there was a little bit of a honeymoon period, and then that faded. You know, and oh man, I didn't expect to get emotional, but sorry, but I did really miss I really missed seeing my students. I don't think I've actually talked to anybody about this yet, but yeah, the honeymoon period faded, and then it got real. And I realized I don't know when I'll see these kids again.
Mid-March, a Friday afternoon, we say goodbye to the kiddos, and we didn't think anything of it. When we heard, we weren't going to be returning to school right away, I did reach out to my kids in Zoom just to check in on them. And then it progressed, that's how I would have to teach them for the rest of the year. So it was definitely, I would say, it was challenging because these are 5-year-olds.
We were told that we were going to shut the school down for 2 weeks. And then that was it. We never went back. It was a complete shock to me. At that point, I knew I was retiring and I wanted to finish strong. But it was difficult because we didn't really finish. I feel like I've left loose ends, if you know what I mean. That I just wasn't able to tie it off the way I wanted to.
No, they said, take your computers home, take everything home with you. Now, when you're talking to a physical science teacher and you say, take everything home with you, all of a sudden your stomach falls right down to your kneecaps. And you're like, what do you really mean by everything? They meant everything. Professionally, my skills and technology were not where they should have been because I wasn't ready to do online teaching at that point. Mostly I had a panic attack. That's pretty much how I handled it. I'd like to say, well, yeah, I figured it right out. No, I didn't. I was petrified.
For the first, I'd say at least 2 to 3 weeks, I felt like I was basically on call all the time because I was trying to check my email even in the evenings, because that a lot of times that's when the kids could do their work, because that's when their parents could help them. That's when they could get online.
And so it was like, okay, we don't really know how this is going to work. So how can I reinvent what I do to work for kids, to help them keep playing, to give them a place to come and talk with you and just have a little bit of normalcy in life.
Hi, I'm Patty Graham, and I teach kindergarten at Foose School in the Harrisburg School District. Being around the children, enjoying them and watching them grow their brains and blossom, that's exciting to me. Probably many tears were shed on my own time, private time, because I didn't get to say goodbye to them. I did worry because I know stories that come about even when they are coming into my classroom every day. I just know that a lot of times they're here with me to get a hug. We're a Title I school, so all of our students get free lunch, 100%. We started immediately distributing food, and I volunteered, but I would ask them to come up. And sometimes I would give them things, whether it was some paper or a journal or a notebook or crayons and things. I was making 18 or more phone calls a day to connect with them, continually reaching out, getting on Zoom to visit with them. We even had a virtual kindergarten graduation. We started the school year like teaching at home. And then they allowed us after a couple weeks, you know, here's how it's going to work when you come to the building. I set up my classroom. I needed to have that to feel like I was teaching again and not sitting at home in a makeshift classroom. In September, they weren't used to this, sitting and watching and talking to someone, and that someone's talking to me on, you know, on a computer screen. But the presentation has to be active and moving and spinning and very engaging and wow, just turning them on to songs and dances and puppetry or whatever works. And I knew we had to do that, and I knew it took a lot of energy. This is 32 years for me in this district. So that's hard for me to go from that to that. Probably my biggest stress relief is finding out what the children like and just enjoying them, whether it is putting on peace classes or they might be into unicorns. So if I didn't do this fun stuff, I think I'd be a lot more stressed. We have them, you know, wrapped in our arms, our virtual hugs, and we're moving forward. Today, I'm going to take you through a day in the life during this virtual time of teaching in this pandemic. I'm at the parking lot and the place that I have driven to for the past 32 years. And it looks a little different now. And I'm going to slip my mask on and go into the building with all of my excitement for the day and for my students. So here I am in my classroom about to start the day. It is empty at this time, if you can see, which makes for an empty heart. But my heart will be full very shortly. Here's my children on the door, all of their names. And this is my group, and we are greeting each other in our morning meeting with our binoculars. Show me your binoculars. Everyone. Good job, friends. During this pandemic, we need the help of our principal.
Hello, I'm Mr. Hicks.
And as well as the office staff. Hey. Hi. Then I'm going out here in order for our students to get onto their Zoom classes and fix all of their technology. We have our tech person. Without them, we wouldn't be able to teach virtually during this pandemic. Hi, it's the end of the day, and I just had to take a breather and have a seat. The end of a virtual teaching day, and all of the things that go with it, to a cup of tea and a little bit of relaxation.
I feel like I'm drained. And I think it is because all I am is looking at this. The computer screen wears you out. If children were just here, I wouldn't be as worn out as just looking at a screen. I would much rather have the children in the classroom. I thought they would come back a lot sooner. I hope that happens this year. I hope it happens.
Good morning. This is the spare bedroom where I had taught for the past 3 out of 4 months since about November. So now I get to go into the building and teach from there. So that excites me because teaching at home, telework as they call it, is not the best. I am back in my classroom and preparing for students to be welcomed back, hopefully in April. We have the shields up. I don't know if you can see them. My hand is on them. The shields are on the desks, and the desks are 6 or more feet apart. And lastly today, after a long afternoon of meetings with the superintendent of the district and our building administration, I am anticipating the return of students after 1 year of virtually teaching during this pandemic. I am looking forward to students walking through these doors and into my classroom after a whole year, and hopefully in the next month that will happen here in Harrisburg. And I'm excited to see the change and to have the children here in front of me. After 32 years of teaching in this district, it's time to bring them back.
When children were sent home from school in March, many parents thought they needed to figure out how they would handle a few weeks. For some, that was hard enough. No one could have imagined how long that situation would last.
It's been school with dad. My daughter can't hang out with her friends like she used to. So what I worry about is all the feelings that come with that. And I want to remain positive, not only for myself, but for her. And whenever I enjoy the moments with her, it takes us both away from everything that's going on.
The Friday that we were told that, basically school was going to close for the next 2 weeks, I was like, okay, 2 weeks feels long, but I'll be all right. And then every day it was like, oh, we're going to add more time. We're going to add more time. I don't think I've ever been scared for my physical well-being, but I can tell you that after that 2 weeks, I was worried for myself personally, for my mental well-being. And that's being transparent and honest. Because to go from working full-time and teaching and having your kids in daycare or school to working full-time and teaching from home with your kids home, not knowing how long that's going to be your normal is really scary.
So I am a single mom. My daughter is 8 years old. So she's with me throughout the day, and we're having to juggle schoolwork and mommy being on Zoom and running yoga classes and then answering emails and clients, contacting me and so on. So it is a juggling act. She's not getting her schoolwork done every day as scheduled. Oh well. This is our life now. Life is messy right now, and it's okay.
The day that we found out that it was going to be just 2 weeks was March 13th. But obviously that went on a lot longer. I felt like I was like in a boxing match, like you just kept getting like punched in the face and you knew it was a losing battle. And then they did say they were going to start virtual school, and that was a little more hopeful than having nothing at all, but also a challenge because my husband and I, we both still had to go to work. So when my kids were starting that virtual school in the spring, I kind of had a breakdown about that at work. Eventually you just get over it and you just move on and find ways to be the best that you can and do the best that you can. My mom is like I don't know what I would do without her. You know, she helped me a lot. Sorry. And parents that work all the time, and I don't know what they did. Like somebody that wouldn't have, like I had my mom to help. I don't know how other people did it because everything did fall on us then. Luckily with Bianca and her age, she did well no matter what was thrown at her. The school did the absolute best that they could, but I felt like the kids definitely missed out. There was a huge gap, especially for my 4th grader. They just tried their best, basically, to get the kids some kind of education. They did what they could, but it was not the same. So Aubrielle was in kindergarten when this started last year. She couldn't have her kindergarten graduation last year because they used to have it in the auditorium and it was set up and all cute. They would get their hat and diploma, and it was sad for me too because it was my last baby, like graduating kindergarten. So I'm like, we're gonna just do it on our back porch and like have our little family there. So we had a little kindergarten graduation for her.
What do you want to be when you grow up? A teacher. A teacher, okay.
When I look back at my pictures from just 2020, it's like all hiking and going outside. I'm glad they have each other. It's good family time and good memories. I was just dreading them having to wear a mask. Like, I almost broke down like when I saw the kids like waiting there the first day of school, like all in their masks and shields. I think it bothers me more than them, honestly. Kids are Brazilian, and obviously I've gotten over seeing them in masks. I'm used to it by now. So February 1st, they all went back at the same time, 4 days a week, to see like a trial run for the month of February, basically to see how it would go, I think. And it's gone well. March 1st, they're going back to 5 days a week. So today's the first Wednesday that she has been in school all year. She is more happy and upbeat and just wants to be involved in everything. The school and the teachers, like I give it to them because the amount of things that they've had to deal with the past year, teachers and principals especially, like they've had to basically like change everything over, and it seemed like some of it just happened so quick, like no preparation, like you just have to do this, you know. I could never do what they do. It's amazing.
When school buildings closed, students had their own set of concerns. Would seniors have a graduation? When would they see friends and teachers in person? They've had to adapt to uncertainty and a constantly changing learning environment.
It's a choice at my school whether you want to go to school a couple days or fully, we call it core. That's our program for online learning. I've been in core my entire year in 7th grade, and I have really great teachers this year. So I really kind of regret not being able to see them in person. I regret not being able to see my friends, but online learning is definitely a learning experience.
I think it's been kind of unexpected and crazy because in March I thought that this was like gonna be really quick and we just would have 2 weeks off from school. But then it turned into quarantine and we've just been doing online school for a while now. I don't know, it's hard.
My name is Olivia. I'm 18 and I'm a senior. I've never gone through anything like this, so it's definitely, I think, the scariest thing I've ever gone through. There's not a lot that I know about the school year right now.
I miss seeing my teachers and I miss like interacting when I learn, because that's how I learn. The online schooling isn't necessarily, you know, my favorite thing to do. It's just not the same thing, and I think that's worrisome for me, but if it'll help people stay alive, then I of course want this to be the way it is.
Hi, my name is Bianca and I'm in 7th grade. We got a phone call from the school, and right after I got off of school, and we heard that we were going to be off for 2 weeks because of the virus, because I wanted to clear it up and stuff. So I was really excited about it, and I was like screaming in the car because I was so happy. And as it got bigger, I kind of got mad because everything was getting canceled, and I realized that it was a big deal. My birthday is March 22nd, and it was right when the COVID started, and I was having this big birthday party with all of my friends, and then my mom told me that we had to cancel it, which really made me unhappy. And then as it got bigger, my sister's birthday party got canceled. I think we were off for like about 3 to 4 weeks, like off completely. I got really bored, and then they decided that they were going to start virtual, like on our computers and stuff, which I got happy about that, but I knew it was going to be different. I don't know, it was just really strange kind of for me to get used to. I have a 10-year-old sister and a 7-year-old, and I definitely had to help them, especially with my youngest sister, because she was new to the technology because she was only in kindergarten. I didn't really have to get to have like a graduation or anything, like at end of the year, which was different. I really liked my teachers that year, and I always do, and it was hard to like not see them again, kind of. We actually had like Zooms and Google Meets, which we got to interact more with that. And as time went by, we got to change to hybrid. It was like half of the students, which was really strange. We had to obviously wear masks and stuff. It was much different, and it was hard. It was like kind of a new reality, and I don't know when we're going to get out of that. But I'm used to it now, which is good. Good morning. It's about 6 o'clock right now, and I just woke up. So today I'm really excited because it is the first week that I'm going to school, like all week. So it's my first Wednesday that I'm going to school, because usually it is virtual on Wednesday, and then we go to school on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday and Friday. But this week we go all normal because it's changed. But yeah, I'm really excited. So now I'm all ready for school, so let's go downstairs and get everything we need, and then we can walk out the door. Alright, so now I'm just leaving my house. I have everything I need, and usually I walk to school because I live really close to the school. So yeah, I will show you guys what it looks like getting to school. Now we're at school. I'm really excited because we have a new schedule, so I'll meet you guys inside. So now I just got out of school and I'm walking home because I live super close to the school.
But yeah, it was a really great day today, and I am super excited for tomorrow.
I really enjoy going to school. I like socializing and I just like learning more. So it's better for me, obviously, because then I can like interact and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited every day because I get to go to school and I get to talk to people, and it's just back to normal, kind of.
We'd like to wish teachers, parents, and students continued strength and success as they navigate these times. I'd like to thank our guests for being so open and honest and for documenting their lives in this way. Please join us next time as we continue to share stories and transform health. I'm Kira McGuire. Thanks for watching.
Today, healthcare is about empowering people to take control of their health. Whether creating a fitness routine, choosing the right procedures and medications, or adhering to treatment for a chronic condition. Capital Blue Cross, dedicated to underwriting transforming health for the good health of the community. WellSpan Health, helping patients reach their health goals through a coordinated system of physicians, hospitals, and convenient healthcare services in communities across central Pennsylvania. Learn more at wellspan.org. WellSpan Health, for the journey that is life. Support also comes from viewers like you. Thank you.